Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about the relevance of the literature and the task-based learning. But first, I'm going to give you a little bit of context about the task-based learning. This is about activities that have a meaningful goal. They are related to real-world situations. So I consider that the literature and this other concept can be bond together. They can make our lessons dynamic. Now I'm going to answer some questions that I consider that are important for this presentation. The first one is, why is it important to include literature in the teaching learning process? So I consider that it is important because it helps us to help our students to develop abilities or skills such as critical thinking, creativity, motivation, and empathy. These kind of abilities help our students now, and it's going to help them eventually in the future. For example, the aspect of the empathy is pretty important because some people do not know how to express their emotions or how to understand other people's emotions, and when we give our students the opportunity to read books, they can make relationships or well connections with the characters of those books. They can feel emotions for those characters and eventually translate those emotions to the real world people, let's say. And I think that this is pretty important for the kids. Another fact about it is that our students can exercise their brain through the literature. Um, there is a whole world of genders, of books, fantasy, mystery, and those kind of genders can make our classes dynamic, and the students can feel emotion about those kind of books, and they can feel engaged with this other kind of how can I say, teaching way. And at the same time, I want to say something, and I think that as a teachers, we are here to guide our students. And at the same time, I know that maybe it is hard or difficult to try to teach students a new language, and for them to try to learn that language, but there are techniques, there are activities, and in this case, the literature, it's a good tool to implement in the classes. Um, Another thing that I want to mention about the literature is that it can help our students to have a large amount of vocabulary. They can express better with the part of the speaking eventually. And now I'm going to talk about how can we include the literature in our lessons. I think that there are a lot of activities that we can implement, and also there are simple ones. For example, we can use what we have in our environment in the class. For example, something simple like use the whiteboard and something to um, write, for example, keywords of the stories that we are um, telling to the students, or for example, draw some objects about the stories that we are telling them, and in that way they can feel engaged and attract to that way to hearing a story, let's say. Another activity that we can implement, it could be that, for example, read different books each week. For example, uh, at the beginning of one week, read on Monday a book about friendship, let's say, and at the end of that week on Friday, um, we can make an activity like let our students guess what is going to be the end of that book about friendship, let's say. And in that way, they are going to exercise their brain, which is amazing. And now I'm going to link this about the literature in the task-based learning because I think that we can make activities that can relate to real-world situations, which is pretty important to help our students to understand that the English is not something that you can use just in the classroom, but they can use it also outside the class, and we can motivate them and encourage them to practice English outside the class, and maybe reading books, maybe through the literature is the way to do so. So thank you so much and thanks for watching.